We had a plan that summer. It was a no sober summer, and if we didn't die, we didn't do it right. I was ready to drink a bottle and drive myself right off a cliff and laugh while I did it. I genuinely didn't care about what happened to me because nobody else seemed to. I was born in prison, so my grandma took me in. My grandma and my papa both struggled with alcoholism. When I was 3, I was put into the foster care system. It was worse when my biological father found me and separated my sister and I to take me with him. I lived with him from age 4 to 7, but that was before I realized who my dad was. Some pretty intense things happened while I was under his roof. After I was taken out of that home, I went to another placement. I was with them for about a year, and then my mom found me. She was able to reunify me with my siblings and me with her. It got pretty insane, and I continued moving through different placements and a lot of life obstacles happening. And once that innocence and that trust that you give to people that you love, people that are supposed to protect you and keep you safe, once that is severed and broken, it starts to feel like the whole world is against you, because if you can't trust them, how can you trust literally anybody else? My incarceration happened after all of these events leading up to it. The homelessness, addiction, all of my support system that I never really had falling completely apart. My addiction was so bad, terrible. I pushed away anybody that cared about me at all, and I gave up on myself completely. All of the trauma and anger that I had been running away from for years had finally caught up to me once I was locked in a jail cell with it. The first time I met Jen, I was just thinking to myself, well, they better hold on tight because they're probably not expecting any of this. I just remember, mind you, I was a very guarded, negative person at the time. But when we were sitting, when we were sitting on in the courtroom, there was just a couple of us talking to Judge Halligan. I turned my head, and Jen was sitting on the end, and she was looking straight at me, huge smile on her face. And I was just like, uh-huh. And I just looked back, and I just remember thinking well, she's positive and super happy. I don't know why she's so happy to be here, but I judged her too soon because she ended up being my favorite person in such a short amount of time. And it was so interesting because she was the positivity and the light in my life that was never there before. And I think that's why I was so taken aback by it. I just wasn't used to the positivity and the wanting to get to know me, and I've never genuinely looked somebody in the eyes and felt like they were listening to me the way that I do with Jen. I was in 2 different detention facilities, and I could only meet with my legal team, which Jen was considered a part of. Her being in that room with me and looking me in the eye across the table while I'm sitting there with orange jumpsuit on and handcuffs, even in the most dehumanizing state and just terrible place in my life, she was still smiling and making me feel like I was a person.
Alyssa is a true believer, and she held on to that. I think there were a few times where she needed "you've got this." A few times where she wanted a little affirmation on her decisions, but mostly it was her getting the opportunity and she just took off running. While I'm aware of Alyssa's trauma, she is very open to therapy, and basically my message was, you can do this. I'm 100% sure you can heal, and you will. As a mentor, I'm reinforcing her strengths of what she sees is going to see her through this. It's just what you want for every child, really.
She continually stepped up and showed up for me throughout one of the toughest times in my life. Just proved that I could trust her. There was never a doubt in my mind that I was important to her and that she cared about me and wanted the best for me. I had to genuinely want change, and I did. I was finally at the point where I'm like, I don't want to be who I was when I entered this facility. And I put in the work. I stayed so focused when I was in jail, and my patience was tested a lot because there were other broken girls in there that weren't ready to change. And instead of falling back into old habits and just letting that get to me, I was able to become a mentor for the other girls in there once I got set straight. It was genuinely life-changing, and it did save my life. I do want to be able to help at-risk youth once I become in the right place for it and have not only my experiences but a degree to stand on as well, whether that's working in the juvenile justice system or with youth that are struggling and feel and just need a reminder that they are worth something and they can amount to a future.